What up, sports fans? Waxon Wednesday, Jake Waxman, Tyler Level at Two Guys Talk Sports. Let's go. So I want to start off apologizing for this video. I want to apologize for this video being as late as it is. Have my hands full today, so just want to apologize for the lateness of the video due to a couple of things that have kept my hands full. And secondly, I want to apologize for not putting out a better video. In all honesty, and me and Tyler's and his family and my family's experience at the Tigers-Cubs game this previous weekend on June 7th. So, to make up for it, I'll give you guys a quick talk about it. Honestly, really fantastic experience. Had an absolute wonderful time with Tyler Lavalette and his mom and dad. And my mom and dad, we got to share the experiences. Got to go out to the ballpark. It was a hot day, too. Not going to lie. Very, very hot day. You know, it was still beautiful. We had a bit of a breeze. Some of us took shelter during parts of the game for good reason. I got a little, admittedly, you might not see it on my arm, but I got a little cooked too. But really good experience and great baseball between both the Tigers and the Cubs all weekend. I was lucky enough to go to the lone game that the Cubs won. Cubs ended up winning 6-1 against Tyler's Tigers. But it was Tyler's team that took the series. They won two of three of the games, proving that they were the better team this weekend. And you know what? Hey, these are two of the best teams in the MLB. You knew there'd be some offense from both sides. And, Tigers had offense in games 1 and 3, while the Cubs showed their offense and their hand in game 2. So, really good, really good baseball action. Like I said, the view was very nice. Our seats were really solid, though. It was a little hard to see kind of what was going on first base. And admittedly, I got distracted quite a bit talking with everybody else. And it seemed like every time I was talking to someone, boom, Cubs home run. But it was really nice to see both of these two teams. Of course, me and Tyler, we went and saw the Cubs and the Tigers at Wrigley Field last year. This year, we got to see them at Commerica in Detroit. So it's nice that we can both say that we've seen our teams both on the road and at home. But had a really great time with Tyler and his folks. My folks had a really great time as well. Had a great time spending time with them as well. And overall, just a summary. Hey, the series went kind of what I thought it was. I know I picked the Cubs to take 2 of 3. But I was kind of like, there's a good chance the Tigers are probably going to take 2 of 3 instead. But, I mean, I was happy to see them win in Commerica. And not to brag or anything, but Cubs are 2-0 when I'm in attendance. So I guess I just need to go watch my Cubs play baseball live more. But, hey, it was a really great experience. And the best part about it wasn't the Cubs winning. It was spending time with Tyler Lavalette and his family and my family. And we got to share experiences and talk about things and just have a really good time. That's the thing about baseball is you can have a great time, even if you don't necessarily enjoy the game. Of course, there was definitely, I will say this, for those of you wondering, plenty of Cubs fans in attendance there. Like, there were a lot more Tigers fans, of course, but there were so many Cubs fans there, too. They were getting loud, no question about that. Even during the 7th inning stretch, root for the Cubbies. Although, Tyler tried to, and I heard plenty of Tigers, too, in that. But, really, overall, great experience, and you know what? If next time the Cubs return to Detroit, hope to see him again with my man Tyler and his folks, as well as my folks. But overall, we had a great time no matter who won the game. And I was going to enjoy it even if the Cubs lost. It was really the best part. The best parts were spending time with my friends and family, as well as seeing the Cubs up close once more. And, Gramps, I'm thinking about you, man. But overall, I will say this. Kudos to the Tigers defense on that weekend. They were able to shut down the Cubs in 2 of the 3 games. And, hey, sometimes it's just tough between games 1 and 2. It's tough when you got a night game and then an afternoon game the following day. It can be tough with that quick turnaround. And Cubs took advantage of that quick turnaround. But Tigers still ended up winning 2 of 3 of the games. But overall, great experience. Got a lot of great pictures with my people. So 2 thumbs way up. All right, and now shifting gears. Oh boy. Okay, so we know the Monaco Grand Prix is not going to be the same weekend next season as the Indianapolis 500. I think that's going to be in June. So what Formula One has done now is, instead of the Monaco Grand Prix being the same Memorial Day weekend, it's now the Canadian Grand Prix in Circuit Gilles Villeneuve that will be, or in Montreal, the Canadian Grand Prix will take its place. But here's where things get really, really interesting and spicy. So in addition to the Canadian Grand Prix being scheduled for May 24th, from what I have also heard, oh boy, brace yourselves, race fans. The Canadian Grand Prix is also going to be shown at about the same time. And I do mean the same time. Same day, not just the same day, but the same time as the Indianapolis 500, or the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500. Let me verify this for you, sports fans, real quick. I'm going to make sure of that. But I do know that they are going to run this race on the same day. That's one thing. But I'm also hearing that it's going to be about close to around the same time. Yeah, 2 p.m. So where the Indy 500 will start around 12:45 p.m. 2 p.m. start time for the Canadian Grand Prix. Woo! Okay. Whoa. This screams one thing. Formula One, they are looking to steal the Indy 500's thunder. There's no question about this. And they are looking to steal that American audience that loves the Indy 500. And you know what? I just gotta say it. This is pretty arrogant of Formula One. And no, seriously, I'm not mincing what I said. This is a move of arrogance by Formula One. But you know what? Hey, they're going for it. They're trying to win over the American audience. Well, whew. Here's the thing. We know the Indy 500 won't be able to compete with Formula One based off of, like, the worldwide audience, okay? Everyone's going to want to watch these races. But if the Indianapolis 500 wants to keep its home audience, or the North American, or let alone the U.S. audience, because this is another move by Formula One to try and win over American racing fans. But if the Indy 500, here's what I think what IMS needs to do to keep that American audience. There has never been a better time in Indianapolis Motor Speedway to effectively end the blackout. This is it. You can't have any more blackouts after this, because now Formula One has come knocking on your door. They're looking to steal your lunch. They're looking to steal your thunder, or whatever, however you want to say it. Formula One has decided to challenge the Indianapolis 500 for American viewership. That's the move, the vibe that I get here. And honestly, if IndyCar wants to keep the Indianapolis 500 as the most watched race every May, or the most watched race, the single most watched race every year, you got to lift that blackout. You got to let people in central Indiana watch it, because you're going to need all the help and all the eyes glued to the television. Because it's not necessarily going to be a battle of attendance. This is going to be a battle of TV viewership. And the Indianapolis 500 can, and in a way, keep a hold of that American audience if they allow people in central Indiana, around the Speedway, Indiana area, to watch the Indianapolis 500 next year. Do not worry about ticket sales. Just lift the blackout. That is how you're going to keep a hold of your core fan base and keep them from watching the Canadian Grand Prix. And race fans, you know where I stand with this issue. Sorry, Formula One, and sorry to the Canadian Grand Prix. It's a magnificent event, but I'm sticking with the Indy 500. I'm watching the Indianapolis 500. That's pretty much where, in terms of racing, that's where my focus is going to be. No matter what race is on. You know, I'll give NASCAR some credit. Yeah, they put the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day, but at least it's a night race. Here at Formula One, I mean, they're clearly trying to win over the American fans. You know? And I'll say it again. They got that arrogance in them. No question. But it is bold. Now it's time for Indianapolis Motor Speedway to come up with an even bolder response to show Formula One that Memorial Day weekend, in terms of auto racing, belongs to the Indianapolis 500. All right, shifting gears now to NHL hockey, Stanley Cup hockey. Oh boy. So Florida leads the series 2-1. They're looking pretty strong. Edmonton, oh my goodness. Whew, rough game. Shaking my head about watch. That was an ugly hockey game. All right, game 2 wasn't so bad for Edmonton. Lost in overtime. Game 3, holy crap, they played awful. And not because they didn't get shots on it, or not because they only scored 1 goal, but that was not, sports fans, oh my goodness, that was not a clean game by Edmonton. And what I mean is, too many dumb penalties. You commit so many dumb penalties, you are not going to win a hockey game, let alone win the Stanley Cup. If Edmonton ends up losing the Stanley Cup in, say, 5 games, maybe even 6, they will have lost it in game 3. Because clearly in that game, they lost their cool. They lost their tempers in all 3 periods. Evander Kane should have been benched. I think he committed 3 incredibly dumb penalties. He led the team in penalties as far as I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. But there was other Oilers that just committed so many stupid penalties and unnecessary ones at the end of the game. I hope Connor McDavid, or at the very least Leon Draisaitl, or the coach for the Edmonton Oilers, hopefully the team had a meeting and said, guys, we cannot play like a bunch of boys again. We need to play like men. Because in game 1, they handled the Florida pressure really, really well. All right, Florida threw a lot at them, or actually almost everything at them, and Edmonton found a way to come through in game 1. Game 2, close game. They were handling it really well and just fell short in game 2 in overtime. Game 3, complete and utter nuclear meltdown, or just an oil meltdown. That oil heated up. That oil just melted down under pressure. That's not Edmonton hockey. They are so much better than this. They showed in games 1 and 2 they're much better than this. So now it's up to the Oilers to decide, you know what, if they're gonna need to win game 4, no question. But if they're gonna have a chance to win the Stanley Cup and turn the tables again, because the momentum's now in Florida's favor. And you know what? They're a great team. All right, they play well they raise the pressure. They start fast, and they can raise that pressure to the level they want. When it's just wrong for Edmonton, it's just right for Florida. Edmonton is now got to find a way to flip the momentum and flip the tables back in their favor. They got to do what they did in games 1 and 2. Play their style of hockey. But I still think this is going to be a long series, okay? I still think this is going to be a 7-game series. I got a feeling Florida's going to win game 4, but then Edmonton's going to win the next 3. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But this series could end quickly if Edmonton does not get its crap together, grow up, and just, you know what? Play and execute clean hockey. Florida's going to bring that pressure. Okay? You can't collapse under pressure and get frustrated to the point where you are committing some of the stupidest penalties I have ever seen. So, going forward, if Edmonton's going to have a chance to bounce back in game 4 and take this series, whether it goes to 6 or 7, they got to play smarter. They got to execute better. They got to handle the Florida pressure much better. They got to come tougher. They got to gain some toughness. Play like men. Focus. Play for each other. And take it one shift at a time. And also, stay out of the frickin' penalty box. Because if you get Florida too many power plays, eventually they're going to take advantage. That's just how it goes. This Florida team is too good on the power play. And they showed it in game 3. They got so many... Edmonton gave them so many gifts, so many power plays, and Florida happily took advantage. Brad Marchand, say what you want about him. Of course, personally, I'm kind of in the middle. I like him. Sometimes I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, the only thing I don't like about Marchand is the fact that he's playing for Florida, honestly. And not that I don't like Florida, but I just want Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup. But you know what? He was doing this in the game, and you know what? He wasn't wrong. He was saying, you guys got to use your brains. You got to when the opposition is reminding you to play using your brains, you know you got problems. So Edmonton, going forward to tomorrow, I hope they've regrouped, and I hope in practice they figured out a way to just keep their poise and composure. Because when they lose it, games like Game 3 happen. So Edmonton, you got to play smarter hockey and take care of the puck. Play for each other. Stay focused and stay out of the box. Remember, Florida is going to come at you with some pressure. That's who the Panthers are. And you've handled it really well in Game 1. Now you got to prove again that you could handle this pressure, because this is a different. I still believe this is a different Edmonton team. But now, going into Game 4, they got to prove it once more. On to this day in sports history, and on this day, the 11th of June, 1919, so over 100 years ago, the 51st Belmont Stakes, Johnny Loftus, riding the legendary Sir Barton, wins by 5 lengths over Sweep On. Sir Barton, with a win in Belmont, Sir Barton goes on to become the first Triple Crown winner in the history of horse racing. All right, sports fans, that's all I got for this week's Waxon Wednesday. I will see you guys for Friday Roundtable with my man Tyler Lavalette, Jake Waxman from Two Guys Talk Sports. Wishing you all a good week.